pop up on YouTube.
Oh, no, I didn't know you were still trying.
Hot mic. So careful, don't be talking dirty, man. We have to charge people for that. Now I gotta wait for Facebook to catch up.
Always waiting on one of the platforms, huh?
Right? Wait, what? Now that's weird.
What?
I I click go live on Facebook, and I kid you not, it says delete video and return to page. Your live video has ended. I just clicked start. I just clicked start on
They're
Facebook. I
waiting
kid
on
you
you.
not. I clicked start on Facebook, and it says your live video has ended.
They're literally reading your thoughts through your computer. He's
Mm,
about to do a live
right.
Facebook. We're going to delete it before he can even start.
I'm just gonna let YouTube keep on going for a second. What's up, YouTube? I see you guys. You know how it is. I got gremlins. They just love to mess with my stuff. You know, I tested this stuff already, man, and I go live and it goes doo doo.
Stop. I can't stand it. The first time you did that in health class, I hated it, and that was 20 years ago.
Did I do that in your health class?
I like, I told them you had Tourette's syndrome.
They'll believe that too. Oh, is that what that is? Oh, interesting. He's so brave for still coming to school. What's up, folks? I see you. We're gonna get this going in just a second. I kid you not. It's like either one or the other. It's like well, I know technically trying to run both of these at the same time, it's like the bandwidth can't handle it. I hit or miss with it's hit or miss with this stuff. Sometimes it's gonna work, sometimes it isn't. Thank you guys so much for bearing with us. We'll get this going in just a moment. Hopefully, I'm gonna try this again. That's just weird. That's like, when you pull up to a traffic light and it's you see the yellow light, you stop, or no, what is it? You're at the red light, right?
Mhm.
You're at the red light, it turns green and then just turns red again.
Yes, yes.
It does. And sometimes it doesn't even go to yellow. It just go right back to red. That's what happened with this. I clicked go live on Facebook, and the second I hit go live on Facebook, it says video is ended. I'm like, what? So I gotta reset it for Facebook. Thank you guys for hanging in there while I'm keeping you waiting. It's like, man, it'd be at least nice if I could like serve y'all some like snacks or some hors d'oeuvres or
Yeah.
some donuts or something to keep you like, occupied or something like that before we go ahead and get started.
You should tell us a joke.
I don't know any joke. Well, the punchline is always liberal, so
Right.
just think that. And there, I've told you a joke. Okay, so I should have everything ready on Facebook now. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna click go live. If this thing says video has ended or some weird crap, you guys might have something to post to make the news tonight.
Oh, honey.
Serious. Okay, let's see. Live. Oh, we got the countdown. I got the spinning wheel.
If it actually notifies me this week.
I see Chris Barnes say, hey, man, stop hiding from me. Hey, it's not us hiding. We're being hidden. You know the deal. We're being hidden, man. But I appreciate that you want to see us, though.
Yes.
Let's see.
That's
Okay.
nice.
So I'm going to put that up there. All right. I got one more thing to put up to make this all work. And hopefully it will.
You're just a multitasker.
I know I'm trying to do it. And you guys are part of my experiment. Y'all my guinea pigs right now. That's what you are.
Hey, Sandy.
Okay. What's up? And what I need for y'all to do is you know what? I don't even know if it's going to do it on my end. I don't think it's going to do it. I don't think this experiment is going to work from here. Oh, wait. Maybe if I do this. Nope. Let's see. Try hitting me. And like I said, bear with us, guys, because we're running an experiment. You guys are part of our experiment right now. See what happens. Let me see what happens if you like start hitting some emojis. No, it doesn't pop up on my end like
No?
that. Mm-mm.
2 hearts and a like.
No, I do see. All I can see are comments coming up. I can see comments going, but I can't see any.
Ray Cook, thanks for following us and jumping over to Facebook.
No. Dang, man.
Oh.
Hmm. I'm basically what I'm trying to do, y'all, is I'm trying to see if I can capture your reactions. But on the page that I have, with whatever reactions you guys put up, or like your emojis and stuff like that, they're not coming up on where I can see video. I'm trying to find a way to be able to capture those. Oh man. Well, anyway, I won't bug you guys too much more with this experiment. I wanted to see if I can get this to work. I'm gonna go ahead and shut this off that I was trying to capture this stuff with. That ain't gonna work. Ooh, that looks ugly. What is that? That look like that wouldn't go. Oh, that's horrible.
Uh-oh.
Shoot, that wouldn't go work anyway.
Why?
Yeah, it's all distorted and stuff like that. Okay, experiment over. Let's get down to business. All right, y'all. What's up? Thank you guys for joining us in the ZOpium Den, House of the Anti-Fuddy Duddy Bible Study. And we're gonna be doing Romans 3. Like, you know, like nobody else does it, man. Like nobody else does it. That's not me. That's not me. That's just the good Lord giving this knucklehead something to talk about. That's all that is. And so hopefully you guys will find our read through of this insightful, you know, as well as fun, thought provoking as well as fun. As we go ahead and dig into Romans. It's like one thing about the Romans, man. Romans is this is like the liberals' favorite book.
Yeah.
It's weird though. It's like it should be like their least favorite book. But this is like one of the books that they like to go to, the statist, right? The statist-minded liberal goes to Romans to cherry pick stuff. And it's weird because, like I said, this is a book they like to go to when it's like the book that they really should hate. It's almost like Leviticus. Leviticus is the book that they hate the most, but it's like the book that they should dig the most,
Right? Yeah.
right? Because of things that it says it, you know. But they're all hung up on the whole, you know, the sexual ordinance thing, you know, that's talked about in Leviticus and whatnot. And you know, in Romans, you know, they think that that's just a pathway for statism and, you know, and socialism and stuff like that, and being under authoritarian rule where you're sacrificing your freedom for this safety net that the government should be providing for you, and that you want to answer to this authority, so you know you can thrive on the state. So we ain't gonna have none of that. But and speaking of the state, y'all, as this COVID virus comes in, and you know, who knows, man, maybe with COVID, the whole situation, maybe it's right now we're maybe experiencing a little bit of a calm before the storm. You know what I'm saying? I hope not. I hope that, you know, the curve is flattening in many respects. That would be nice. I don't think it's a bad idea to have a little bit of a healthy guard about what's going to come down from this. We know that you know, the statist-minded, you know, Democrats are going to want to use this to give arguments for more state control of things like healthcare. You know, they're going to want to dig into that more. And what comes along with that is things like forced vaccinations, things like them being able to have more access into your life concerning health, stipulations and things that and hoops that you're gonna have to jump through in order to capitulate to the state for them to do certain things, you know, as they ration out their healthcare workers in the HMO, in this state-run HMO, and how you're going to be taken care of. A lot of that stuff is going to be coming down the pipe, y'all. This kind of thing, if the Democrats are retain the House, gain the Senate, you know, going to be able to use things like this to have that kind of representation, y'all, come on now. We don't want that to happen. And this is the kind of stuff that they're going to use for that. And you know, and this is, you know, like Romans. Well, doesn't God, you know, say that all authority is given to the that he's the one who gives all authority? Shouldn't we be answering to that? And these people are taking all that stuff way out of context. So we all, you know, one of the things I'm kind of concerned about, you know, with the COVID issue, is that you know, we you know, as conservatives, and law-abiding citizens. And when I say law-abiding citizens, I'm talking about abiding by good law, right? Just because
Right.
something is a law doesn't mean that it's a good thing, because people do put in screwed up laws, right? So as conservatives, especially as Christian conservatives, we understand that if a law put in that don't respect the balance of freedom, and these are laws that are challenged. So where are we at right now with especially like concerning respecting good law, and we want to be able, and we find ourselves being respecters of those in law enforcement. Now, y'all, at this point, and like I've said before, with the government, I was with you. I'm with you for a second. It's like something's going on. We don't quite know what it is. The best thing to do right now is to go in your home.
Yeah.
When you have the authorities that are saying, okay, the safest place for you to be right now is in your home, on which that's just
At the
protocol,
beginning of the COVID thing.
right? That's just basic protocol.
Yeah.
I understand that. But then once, like I said, when those protections start to become more cumbersome, then the problem you're supposed to be protecting us from is like, okay, now we're at an impasse.
Right.
Now it's the people, we have a choice which problem we gonna deal with.
Yeah.
So now law enforcement is being used to force us, to abide by the state saying we can't go to work and all that sort of stuff. We can't do things to maintain our households, our businesses, and whatnot. So, law enforcement, are you with us? Because at this point, we like to think of ourselves as back to badge, right? Back to badge, and we're having to make sacrifices. We're having to make sacrifices, not be able to go to work. Well, law enforcement is still at work, right?
That's true.
Us from going to work.
Yeah.
Keep us from going shopping and contributing to the economy through commerce and all that sort of stuff. They're being to do that. And it's like so at this point, it's like, hey, officer, look at here, municipality.
Yes.
Well, the Constitution itself, the Constitution that you're employed to uphold, Constitution is for. So, with the police officers, are you with the state, or are you with us? Now, that don't mean like, just because we're people, the police officers are supposed to, always be on our side. No, if we're in a position to where our rights are being compromised for what is being deemed as a non-justifiable reason, the police are supposed to side with us, because that's what the Constitution represents, right? But now I think the only person that we've seen so far is was that guy on Live PD, that sheriff.
Oh yeah.
His name. I hope
Arizona.
Yeah.
Sheriff.
I hope more folks follow his lead, because he's like, you know what? I think it's time for us to stop enforcing this law.
Yeah.
Now he is, as the sheriff, is like, I'm siding with the people now, because I hope no, I can't enforce this. These people need to go back to work. That's their right. It's according to the Constitution, according to the Declaration of Independence. These people have a right to pursue happiness. I hope that they'll follow this, this pattern. They say, oh, it's time to protect the people's right to thrive.
Do you think that when we saw the footage of those police officers citing those people who gathered in their cars at church parking lots, what do you think about those police officers? Should they have done that, cited those people and tickets, or?
Well, see, once again, they're infringing on their own, and I get it. There's things that law enforcement officers, there's certain laws that they're allowed to break. Like, say, for instance, making a U-turn, like right in the middle of the street. They can do stuff like that. All right. In the name of enforcing the law.
Right.
So in the name of enforcing the law, they're going to come in contact with people to hand out these, citations or notifications and all that sort of stuff. In a way, it's kind of Pharisaical. It's like Pharisees, following Jesus around on the Sabbath, telling you're breaking the law, you're breaking the law.
Yeah, and you're gonna hand me a ticket for being in my car.
Right.
Parking lot.
So with the police officers, it's, it just doesn't make sense that when you have, they're letting people out of prisons, and they're not giving people tickets to avoid, to avoid social distancing, but you're gonna go to a church, and do that with them. That doesn't make any sense. That's totally inconsistent, and and once again, it's a slap in the face of the first right of the First Amendment, the right to free religious exercise. And you're gonna call that non-essential? That has to be debated over on whether that's essential or not to be able to go to church. Come on, man. What's our society coming to? So anyway, I'm just asking, with our LELs, were you with us? Are you with us on this or not? We're not trying to be knuckleheads. We're not trying to break the law. So let's see. Is that frozen on Facebook or YouTube? Facebook. That's weird because my feed is still going.
Yeah, mine's going too.
Oh,
y'all refresh.
Yeah. That's all. That's all I can say is try refreshing. Because I got it's doing on both sides. It's doing
thank you, Brian. I looked down and I saw you guys saying that it's frozen, but mine is still going. Zo's is still going. So just let us know.
Let's see.
Jeff Garlick says certain levels of LEOs are political like the rest.
Yeah. They're all going to be in there. So hopefully the buffering is catching up, y'all. Like I said, it's probably because I'm trying to do 2 streams at once. I'm trying to do Facebook and I'm trying to do YouTube at the same time because, I'm trying to reach everybody that I can and probably decide, I think, what do you guys think? What do you guys, matter of fact, let me go ahead and ask this right now while it's going. One of these streams at a time. Let's take a vote right now. Which would you rather see me do these on? Would you rather see me do these on Facebook, the live stream on Facebook, or would you rather see me do the live stream on YouTube? I think more people have access to YouTube. This is the thing. I think more folks watch me on Facebook, but not everybody has, not everybody uses Facebook. Some people are like, man, I'm done with Facebook. I'm off, right? However, everybody pretty much has a YouTube account. So it's like, which one should I? It's like, yeah, somebody says both. I would like to do both, but it doesn't look like my stream can handle both. That's why you guys are seeing so much buffering, because I'm trying to do Facebook and YouTube at the same time, trying to do that double duty. So, let's take a vote. I don't even know how I'm going to tally up these votes or anything. So at any rate, y'all,
if we're able to upgrade our internet capabilities,
I got to get more support for that, because that's a subscription that I got to buy.
Non-tech person asking, would that help?
Right? It would help. But at any rate, and really quick. So what, like, say for instance, what's going on with Detroit? Oh yeah, Michigan. Right, Michigan. You got people out there. They coming out there strapped, y'all.
Yeah.
Right, they coming out there strapped. Now let me look at both sides of this. In Michigan, when you got people showing up and basically they're letting them know, it's like, look, man, we're a militia. They're trying to get their militia on and saying we are getting ready, to get medieval on y'all if you don't stop with this, right? The line has got to be drawn. And I get that. And it's like, now with Michigan, man, excuse me. How do you guys let it get there? And that's what I'm trying to say to all of America. I know this ain't a popular thing to say with conservatives, but I'm just gonna have to go ahead and say it. Why do y'all feel like you gotta wait until you gotta come out with your guns? Why does it have to get there? That's why I keep trying to say, conservatives, why don't you support promoting this message in the culture? We could have fought this stuff back a long time ago if conservatives would support this stuff, but conservatives don't do that. It's like everything has to be in the politician's hand. It's like conservatives act like it's not official unless it's represented. No, a lot of times it's usually where it dies. Don't you see when are conservatives going to learn that these people who run for office oftentimes go in there talking about being eagles and they turn out to be jive turkeys?
Right?
When are we going to learn? When are we going to learn that it's not always in the hands of a politician to do this? It doesn't take a politician to do all this sort of stuff. Don't you guys see that it's liberals doing this in the culture that's influencing what's happening in office? Why don't conservatives get that? Too many don't.
I don't know, honey.
A lot of y'all do, but too many don't. They got money that they will send to these campaigns, and they'll give they give these candidates all these money, and there's all this lobbyists for all this stuff. They got all this money for that, but they don't have money to promote conservatism in the culture. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, man. And what does that end up looking like? It ends up looking like people out there with their guns.
True.
And that does not, I'm trying to tell y'all, dude, that makes us, it doesn't sit well in the culture. Yes, it's right that we have the Second Amendment. It's right that we have the right to keep and bear arms. It's right that we have the right to have a well-regulated militia, regulated by the people, because that's what the state is supposed to represent. It's not a state regulated militia. It's us. Yes, it's right that we have that. But y'all, if it's where you've had to come to a point where you got to gather around a state building with your guns out, why did it get there?
Yeah.
It's like conservatives shouldn't be so ready and looking forward to pulling out their guns to make a statement. How did we get there? If you had to get to that point where it's like you did something wrong long ago, to tell you the truth. It shouldn't have gotten there, right? So I'm just saying, y'all, think about what think about the statement that it's like, I get it. The state needs to know that, yo, we the people, we're not playing.
Right.
Okay, they do need to understand that, like, right? Yeah, because this woman is a witch. They definitely got a witch in office, right? And don't get me wrong. Yes, a clear message does need to be sent to her. I do not blame these people for being out there strapped and saying, look, this needs to stop. We're not playing. I get that, man. I'm with you 100%. What I'm not with is that why did it get there?
Yeah. How did we let it get here?
Exactly.
The same thing we were saying when Barack Obama
was
president, that morning that we all woke up and then we started the tea parties.
Yeah.
It's like, how did we let it get here? How did we get here?
You know what I'm saying? And now I know how it got here. I mean, when we're asking this, we're asking this quite rhetorically.
Yeah.
We know how it got here because we see how liberals helped to get it here.
Yep.
We see how you guys see it right now. Everything is made in China, right? Well, guess what?
People know is that half the money comes from China for those Netflix movies you want to watch, the Disney movies. It doesn't matter. Half the money comes from China.
That's right.
The other half comes from hostile.
Makers want their movie made. They're gonna have to take that money. And these people are sick with Stockholm syndrome. They're totally sold out to the enemy. They bought the ideology of the enemy hook, line, and sinker. Oh, yeah. Right? They got Stockholm syndrome for. As conservatives, we keep saying freedom isn't free, right? Promotion in the culture, it takes money. It takes money.
Was that the founding fathers risked their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Literally what you have to do if you want to be in the entertainment.
Yes.
Any form of entertainment and be a conservative or a Christian.
True. You know, that's right. And there's really not enough. I'm grateful for those who are watching my show. It's just conservative talking heads. They want to hear just, the talking head, because a lot of the stuff, if you just say it like you're just saying it, that stuff goes over their head. It's the connection is really bad. I'm almost. I want to go ahead and get with this read, but I mean, I don't even know if people are going to be able to like stick around to watch it anyway on YouTube. But I'm going to try. I'm going to try, y'all. Let's see. Yeah, because it just buffers like really bad.
I was going to say real quick, the best example of what you're talking about is your CD, you do music with a message, and you don't bash people over the head with the message. It's good lyrics. And Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Those messages were awesome.
Thank
and
you.
They were hidden in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. Yeah. That's stuff that we're trying.
Well done.
Not bad for like a few bucks, a few friends, in a few days worth to shoot. We were able to pull that off, but then I'd like to be able to do more. But all right, y'all. Let's while I got a connection, let me go ahead and get with this reads. We're in Romans, and Romans 3. Let's see what we can do with it. And before we do, let us get our high priest and king Yeshua to send the to welcome the Holy Spirit and to counsel us in this study. Father, I trust in you that you will help us be effective salt and light, and that you'll help us to receive what it is that you're saying. That it to draw people to you. And we trust in your healing word. We just want to promote truth, Lord, and do what we can to preserve this republic, long enough to do what it is that you have in mind, what you have in mind to do. Thank you, Father, in Yeshua's name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, let's do it. Let's see. Romans 3. Then, what is the advantage of being Jewish? Or what is the benefit of circumcision? Much in every way, first of all, they were entrusted with the sayings of God. So what if some did not trust, where their lack of faith nullified God's faithfulness? May it never be, but let God be true, even if every man is a liar, as it is written, that you may be righteous in your words and prevail when you are judged. Okay, some stuff going on in here. Let's back it up to what is the advantage of being Jewish? Okay, or what is the benefit of circumcision? Much in every way, first of all, they were entrusted with the sayings of God. Well, what makes them so special? What makes Jews so special that they would be entrusted with the words of God? Okay, y'all, people are territorial. People are competitive and whatnot. It's not like God's going to choose like a couple of people. I'm going to trust you with this, and I'm going to trust this nation with this. Okay, even if it's the same thing, there's gonna be a sense of competition there, right? And there's gonna be like these different ideas of what they think that they're supposed to do with this stuff. Okay, so God narrowed it down to one, and there's reasons for that, but we'll get to where I am going to entrust the Gentiles with this information. But God made this face-to-face oracle, with the Jews. So they have every way. First of all, they were entrusted with the sayings of God. So now we're talking about circumcision. Once again, and I don't want to get, because we talked about this before, but it's not like God had them do something that was totally unique to other cultures, because other cultures do stuff like this too. But God made it in a way because people in our nature, we feel like to redeem ourselves, or to show that we're good people, or these rites of passage and stuff like that, things that we do to show and thing. But to that person, what they think that they are doing is good. God, there are certain things that need to be covered, but I'm going to have to prove to you that you do it. And I'll bet you will be sinning against me in no time. All right. God covers all these bases, y'all. Why? Because it leaves us without an excuse. All right. God is a just God. When he brings you into court, if you're guilty, guaranteed you are definitely guilty.
Yes.
We are all guilty. Okay. God is a just God. So now this is, I think this is pretty interesting. So let's see. So what if some did not trust? So what if some did not trust? Will their lack of faith nullify God's faithfulness? I like that. That wasn't what I was talking about, but right there, it's like no matter what it is that man does, you can't fault God for that. Right? It's like, God is, whatever God said he's gonna do, he's gonna do. Just because okay, now they can choose to not choose God anymore.
Right.
God may not be the chosen for them, but they are still the chosen to God. If they reject God, they're going to go someplace else ultimately, but that does not change God's stance on the Jews. What did it say right here? So what if some did not trust? So what? No. All right. You know what I'm saying? And thanks be to God, because we get to be co-inheritors of that.
Amen.
We get to be grafted in on that. Right on. Not replacing them. We get to join them.
Amen.
All right. So now check this out. This is what I was talking about. That you may be righteous in your words and prevail when you are. But listen, he's talking about God here. What you may be, that you may be righteous. I think this is going to be Psalms. In Psalms, scroll. See if I can find it. This Psalms, he's referring to you may be proved right when you speak and are blameless when you. Okay. So God speaks, when he speaks, he's blameless. And when he judges, he's totally just in his judgment. So Paul is talking about God right there. But he says, as it is written, reflecting on Psalms 50, what's that? Psalms, where'd you go? 51:4. But he switches and says, your words and let me see, that you may be righteous in your words and prevail when you are judged. He's talking about God being judged. Now, I've looked through a bunch of translations, and that's what it comes down to. Some translations try to say that you are blameless when you speak and when you judge. But when you look at it and you go into the Hebrew and you look at the different translations, it says, no, when you, God, are judged. See, here's what it's coming down to. God does get judged, right? Well, we judge God all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
People are always judging God.
Anytime something goes wrong in your life, especially something big, God, why is this happening? Why do you let this happen?
He's always being judged. Yes. However, that ultimate judgment came on God in the person of Yeshua.
Amen. Preach it.
Yeshua spoke and was blameless. Everything that Yeshua said came to pass. He was when he was telling everybody about what was going down, Moses was talking about me, all that stuff was true. He was totally just and blameless in everything that he said. And then he took our judgment. He exacted the judgment. The judgment was totally perfect. Right? So that's interesting that Paul, right? Because but if you call on the priesthood of Yeshua and accept him as your Lord and Savior, that's what makes us blameless. Without us, we diseased with blame. Yes. But he cleanses us of that. And his judgment is righteous. Judged upon his judgment, y'all, being put to death and then being brought back to life, everything was fully verified. He said, it's finished, right? My judgment is perfect, right? So he proved it all.
Yeah.
And you know what? He ain't done. He's still going to do some more.
Yeah.
Right? People going to have to find out the hard way now. They really going to have to find out the hard way that he wasn't kidding. All right, so let's see. Let's move on. But if our righteousness demonstrates, let me check that out. But if our unrighteousness demonstrates the righteousness of God, what shall we say? Is he? I'm speaking in human terms. May it never be, for otherwise, how will God judge the world? But if by my lie, the truth of God abounds to his glory, why am I still judged as a sinner? And why not say, let us do evil so that good may come? Just as we are being slandered and as some claim that we say, are we better than they? No, not at all. For we already made the case that all, both Jewish and Greek people, are under sin, as it is written, there is no one righteous. No, not one. That's right, y'all. There is no one who understands, no one who seeks after God. All have turned aside as good. Their throat is an open grave, and their tongues, they keep deceiving. And with their tongues, they keep deceiving. The poison of vipers is under their lips. Their mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Ruin and misery are in their paths. And the way of shalom they have not known. There is no fear of God before their eyes. There's a lot going on in there, man.
He's talking about all humanity.
Right? All of us. Talking about all of us. Yeah. Okay, so let's back way up. All right. So this thing right here, when we're talking about it's like, in order for God to look good, do we got to do evil? It's like, God, I mean, seriously, man, is that what you're trying to say? You got, it's, in order for you to look good, this doesn't seem fair, God. It's like, in order for you to look good, we got to do evil. In order for you to look strong, we got to be weak. Is that what it comes down to? Well, not exactly, because it doesn't matter how good we are. Ain't none of our goodness, all of our goodness combined, don't match up to God's. All of our righteousness combined don't match up to God's, not even close. All right. So it's not about, yeah, we got to go out there and to do evil to make God look good. That's not the issue. But the thing is that you might as well understand that, hey, it don't matter how much good you do. If you think that it's your good deeds, or you thinking that you're a good person is what's going to get you into heaven, you're sadly mistaken. That's not what it takes. So it's going through here letting you know, and it doubles down on it and tells you, it's like, dude, there's no good people. There isn't any. That's why, like, I try to tell folks, it's like, I'm not a good person. According to the word of God, I'm not a good person. I accept that. I'm not a good person. I'm a God-fearing person. That's as good as it's going to get.
Amen.
But I'm not a good person. When you think that you're a good person, if your pursuit is to be a good person, that is an exercise in self-redemption. You have lacked the understanding that Christ is your redeemer. You can pay lip service to it. You can pay lip service that, oh, I'm saved by the blood of the Lamb and all that. You can talk all the Christianese, but it's just lip service. It don't mean anything, because in your mind you think that you can redeem yourself.
Amen. That's good.
It doesn't work. And y'all, when you have that mindset, you will give yourself license to do evil stuff. And what will happen, y'all, and I know that you guys see this kind of stuff. You guys see this. You'll probably see this stuff with people that you know, or you can see it in the tabloids all the time. But you'll probably see this with people you know. You call them out on something, right? You let them know that, they've transgressed against you somehow. And what does that person say? You only look at the bad things that I do. You never look at the good things that I do, right? And this person will take the liberties to do stuff and it's like they don't learn from it. And you can tell them all day until you're blue in the face. You please stop doing that. It's like, but all they get in their mind is that, why should this bother you? Why don't you just let me be me? This is what I do. Why don't you look at the good things that I do? Look at the good things that I do. Never realizing that they're transgressing against you. Y'all, now put that where God is. Do you think that you could play that with God? God, why don't you look at the good things that I do? How come you don't do that? I'm doing good things. Why are you so hung up on these bad things that I do? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we think that we can do that with each other. And that's why God, all your heart, mind, and strength. And then from there, you'll know how to learn others. So if you're going to love God with all your heart, mind, and strength, then you need to realize that with God, you can't be playing this I'm a good person stuff. And why don't you look at the good things that I do, God? Why you always look at the bad things that I do? You can't do that with God. And then from there, God is saying, if you love me with all your heart, mind, and strength. And you can demonstrate that with how you love people. Now you're going to go around and tell people, look at the good things that I do. Don't look at the bad things that I do.
Good word.
You see what I'm saying? Now we see that all the time with Hollywood. You got Hollywood out there, oh, I adopted a kid from Africa and they're doing all this stuff to try to show, and I saved the planet. Look at how I do with the animals. And then they do all this stuff to show that they're a good person. Meanwhile, these people are doped out, cheating on their spouses or sleeping around and doing whichever, all forms that they're checked out of reality on their drugs and all that sort of stuff. You see what I'm saying? They take that as a license to go ahead and do these ill things. Yes. But from there, what do they try to do? They try to redeem themselves. They seek their salvation with a kid that they adopted from a third world country. They think that they've got salvation through that. They think they're good people because of that, while they go and they do all this other messed up stuff. You see what I'm saying? That's what happens when you think you're a good person. Stop it. You're not good. Nobody, not me, not my woman, not you. Nobody is good. Right? But I thank God that my woman is a God-fearing woman. Amen. You know what I'm saying? That's what we need to seek to be, y'all. You know, hey, I'll take it even further. You know who else thinks he's a good person? The devil thinks he's a good person. The devil thinks he's a good person, right? The devil thought he was justified to step out of line with God.
Yeah, that's true.
He thought he was doing a good thing. He still thinks he's doing a good thing. Hitler thought he was a good person, right? Mao Zedong thought he was a good person. All these people think that they're good. Think that what they're doing is good. Now, you think Lucifer would have done what he done if he feared God? He didn't fear God, right? Not because he was brave for his own good. He didn't fear God. That's when he transgressed against God, right? So we'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. But y'all, like I said, let us not be among those who think that we're good people.
Let us not think we can self-redeem.
Yeah, you cannot.
Good works.
Right? You can't self-redeem. Don't matter how nice it'll go sour, y'all. It's gonna go south, because when you do that, you try to. That's all a meritocracy. That's you getting caught up with a religion of you thinking that you could do these good things to gain favor with people. Don't do it. Don't do it. It'll go south. It'll go sour, right? Yeah. Put that on God. Fear God. That's the fix right there. Yes. All right. So let's see. 19. Now we know that whatever the Torah says, it says to those within the Torah, oh boy, so that every mouth may be shut up, and the whole truth, let me see, God. For no human on the basis of Torah observance will be set right in his sight. For through the Torah comes awareness of sin. Oh man, we're in trouble. Okay, look at here. So I don't know about y'all, but I've heard, pastors preach on this, and maybe it's my fault that I've misunderstood what they were saying. Maybe I misunderstood what they were saying. And help me out here, y'all. Let me know if you guys caught this the same way. Doesn't it sound like that we're being condemned, right? Because we got, and don't get me wrong, because it sounds like that's what it says. That's what's written and stuff like that. But in full context, I don't think that's what it means. But it sounds like because of the law, we're condemned. And because of this law, if we didn't know the law, well, we could have just gone ahead and transgressed, and it's the law's fault. Right. Right? Does that kind of seem like what it means? So y'all, I don't think that's what this means. If I may, if indulge me, I'm going to try to break this down to and get my what I'm pulling from the word here. All right. Because what it seems like is not until the law was given that this stuff wasn't a sin. And because the law was given, now because we've laid eyes on it, now that we know what the sin is, now we know what the law is, it's the law that's going to condemn us, right? Yeah. If Moses, good job, man. Thank you. Thank you for giving us this law. Hey, let's, yep. Lord help me. Let's see if I can make this make sense. For through the Torah comes awareness of sin. All right, y'all. Who was Moses talking about the whole time? Moses That's who he was talking to. Okay. Who is Yeshua? Yeshua is the word of God. The word of God that is God and who was there from the beginning. The word of God, y'all, and God himself, and Yeshua himself, y'all, is the law.
Amen.
Okay? Yeah. Yeshua is Torah. Mm-hmm. All right? So Yeshua being Torah, and he even comes to tell you, I didn't come to abolish the law, I came to fulfill it. The only reason why I can fulfill it, because it is me. Everything that was associated with the tabernacle points to setting up and welcoming the law. You're going to meet the law, right? God is the Logos. He is the absolute. He is the real deal. He is the law. All right. Now, why am I saying this? Because to be aware of sin. Okay. When Adam and Eve were created, when Adam and Eve were created, what was the problem? The problem that was presented before them. You're going to have a tree of life, and you have a tree of knowledge of good and evil. Okay. And then what does Elohim say? They and evil. Right. So it was the law, sin, and death, paying the wage of death for sin. Y'all, that happened before Moses. That came before that. That happened in the garden. The law was even in existence before that. We'll get there in a second. The law was even before that. But basically, if you're going to learn the knowledge of good and evil, that means that was discovered in mankind with Adam's transgression. Because they came to learn the knowledge of good and evil. And they became like God, knowing both. What does it say right here? For through Torah comes awareness of sin. When they ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, just as God warned, they will be like us, knowing good and evil, right? That's where that happened. And y'all, and the thing is, it happened even before that. And this is the problem. This is what we're gonna start reading this a little bit more of why it is that it's the law. What God is trying to get us to a place of. Let me see. Let me read this, and it's going to make us more sense. Okay, but now God's righteousness apart from the Torah has been revealed, to which the Torah and the prophets bear witness, namely the righteousness of God through putting trust in Messiah Yeshua. To all who keep on trusting, for there is no distinction, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. They are set right as a gift of his grace through the redemption that is in Messiah Yeshua. God set forth Yeshua as an atonement through faith in his blood to show his righteousness in passing over sins already committed. Through God's forbearance, he demonstrates his righteousness at the present time, that he himself is just and also the justifier of the one who puts his trust in Yeshua. Where then is boasting? It is to be set right apart from Torah observance. Is God the God of the Jewish people only? Is he not also the God of the Gentiles? Let's see. Yes, of the Gentiles also, since God is one, he will set straight the circumcised by faith and the uncircumcised through faith. Do we then nullify the Torah through faithfulness? May it never be. On the contrary, we uphold the Torah. Let's see. What I wanted to find was let me see. Hold up. See if I can find this really quick. What I'm looking for, y'all, is what I'm trying to find, y'all. What I want to address is sin coming into the world before the law came into the world. Okay, let me see. The issue is sin coming into the world before the law came into the world. Y'all, sin, that's an interesting thing, that sin would come into the world before the law did. Well,
yeah, it seems unfair.
Come into the world before the law does. And y'all, the word for the world that's used in the Greek is the cosmos, right? Sin came into everything. Sin came into the universe before the law did. Now, how come into the world before the law if God is the law? Wouldn't that mean that the law pre-existed sin? It seems like it, but Nick, here's the thing. Let's back up to Adam. It will be like us, knowing good and evil, which means that God has already known good and evil, always known good and evil. Now, from there, God is going to unfold the universe. All right. Now, before God puts the moral law, before he puts the moral law out into the universe, sin goes out into the universe first. Sin goes into creation. Okay. And the angels witnessed this, right? The angels, because they're the ones who are the most qualified to testify that God is God, because they were there when he created everything. Amen. All right. But why does sin go out before the law does? Sin is going to go out first because sin sets the stage for free will. In order for our relationship with God to be genuine and to actually work, there has to be the choice, right? So sin can go out into the world. It doesn't mean that you act on the sin. It means that it's there, which means that you have the choice on whether to obey God or not. But the sin is out there, but the law isn't. The law is not established. It is established, but it's not codified. This is what I'm talking. This is what Paul is getting down to. This is the nitty saying, is that it shouldn't take a law. It should not take a sanction that, you know what, you might not want to do that. That's all this is coming down to, y'all. That's all it is. See, here's the thing. The angels were there to see God establish and lay down the foundation of the universe. They just saw absolute truth at work. It's in his very being. Should have known. He should have known better. There shouldn't have needed to be a law. There shouldn't have had to been a discussion. It's like Lucifer transgressed against God. What did God say? Before this law was codified, God says what? I find iniquity in you, right? You are full of pride. You're full of violence, man, right? And Satan's like, is there law against that? You want that kind of attitude in heaven? Wow. Right? So it's like, and God's like, boy, are you serious right now? Right? And so from there, Satan is like, yeah, man. And I will ascend above your throne. I will ascend north of your throne. And God's like, okay, do I really need to write it down for you? Because here's the thing, man. In your wisdom, did you ever stop to think that how you would feel when one of your angels decides that they want to ascend north of you? Right. Yeah. Do you have that kind of empathy? Do you have that kind of foresight to understand that that would be a transgression against you, but you're going to transgress against me, the one who created you? Are you serious? Let me explain something to you, Lucifer. Above my throne is when I grab you by your throat and lift you over my head. That's the only time. But in the meantime, I'm a body slam your behind me. I body slammed them that fast. Okay, so this is what Paul is getting down to. It shouldn't take a law. It shouldn't take. We should already have that in our being, but we don't. It takes God for that. It takes God for us to realize that. You see what I'm saying? So when he's talking about, for through the Torah comes awareness of sin. Y'all, it wasn't necessarily the Torah that was given to Moses at that time. This happened before that, because the wages of sin is death, right? Well, people died before Moses, didn't they?
True.
They died before, right? Adam died, right? And before Adam, there was sin. Before Adam, there was death. I know a lot of people, they can't get their mind. They think that death came after Adam. No, death was already here. It was already a thing. Because if death wasn't something that y'all got, the only way he could tell Adam is like, look, man, if you eat from that tree, you will die. In order for God to tell Adam that, Adam has to understand what death is. Death had to have existed. God is a just God. He can't tell Adam and give Adam this policy without Adam understanding the full scope of the policy. If Adam didn't understand it, if Adam could not conceive of what death was, then God could not be just in his judgment of Adam when he transgressed against him. You see what I'm saying? So that law was already, even in the garden, y'all, Torah was established. All right. Now, let's get even nuttier. Let's get even nuttier. If y'all don't think that Torah was already established in the garden, what went on in the garden reflects everything that was written in the 10 Commandments. Everything. All right. Adam and Eve, between Adam, Eve, and Lucifer, they broke every commandment in that garden. They broke from Torah. They broke from the law. They separated from God in there. All right. Go down the list. All of them. Right. What's the first one? I am the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt. And remember, Egypt means oppression. All right. So Adam and Eve, they should have understood that God is God. He's the law. He's it. And he brings us out of oppression. Well, Adam and Eve weren't even born in oppression, but sold themselves into oppression.
Oh, amen.
That's breaking law number one, because the law of God is liberty. Yes. It's freedom. Jesus is so adamant about liberty that he's even going to liberate us from death. Amen. Nothing is supposed to oppress us. Nothing. But Adam and Eve traded their liberty for oppression. That's why it says, this is your first commandment, the Lord your God. I am the Lord your God. They lost sight of that. And then they gave themselves over to oppression, right? They took another God before God. All right. They took the Lord's name in vain. Right? Did Adam not feel justified to invoke the name of God, to blame him for Eve? Yes. Yeah, did that too. All right. Eve, what did she say? What did Eve say? Well, God said to not eat from this tree, and he said to also not touch it. That's not just a perversion of scripture, y'all. You can see that in human nature. If people feel like they're not allowed to participate in something, they may not feel like they have to have anything to do with the maintenance of it. Right?
Okay, yeah.
So Eve is saying, if I can't eat from the tree, then I must not be able to touch the tree. Meaning that if I can't eat from the tree, then I don't need to tend to the tree. Because in order to tend to the tree, you got to touch it, right? But since she can't enjoy the fruits of it, why should she even tend to it? Yeah. That's where she was. All right. That feminine pride was starting to start to work on her. Right. So they took the Lord's name in vain. All right. And they gave their mind over to themselves because they started to see themselves God. What was Satan saying? God doesn't want you to be like him, knowing both good and evil. Yeah. Now they started to see themselves as God. And you're not supposed to see anything in heaven, on earth, under the water, anything else, anything celestial, anything earthly, anything else as a God. But that's how they started to see themselves, breaking them violations. Do I need to go on? Right? Here's a good one. You guys some people might think they got me trapped in. Does not the 10 Commandments say honor thy father and mother? Yeah. How they gonna do that? They ain't got no mother, right? How they gonna honor their father and mother? Well, here's how. Because Adam, God alone, he is the father. But Adam himself is biologically, not sexually, but biologically, the father of Eve.
Oh yeah, that's
right.
I never thought about that.
He's the father of Eve. It took a piece, right? It's, well, like I said, that's why I prefaced it by saying biologically, not sexually, right? He's the father of Eve. Now, so we've established the father part. Now, did she honor Adam as her husband and as her progenitor? I never pronounced that right, but you guys know what I'm saying. Did he honor her? Did she honor him? No, she didn't. Commandment broken. Now, what did Adam call Eve? He named her Eve because her name means life. And he named her Eve because she is the mother of the living. And what was the description that God gave Adam? He breathed into him and made him a living soul. So Eve is the mother figure. Did Adam honor Eve, the mother of the living? No.
Wow.
Right? And doesn't death follow that?
Yes.
Okay. You see what I'm saying? They're breaking every commandment, y'all. Every commandment is getting broken. Adultery, broken. Adultery is basically when you break a covenant. You break a covenant with somebody.
Yes.
Disloyalty.
Yes.
They did that. Didn't they covet? Yeah, they did.
Yes, most definitely.
Definitely coveted, right? Did they steal? Yes, they did.
Most definitely.
Right? They stole. Did they commit murder?
Most definitely. Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they did. They murdered all of us.
Yeah.
All right. So y'all, they broke Torah. They broke the full commandment. They broke the full list of commandments in the garden. That happened before the law was given to Moses. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So.
Wow, that's a mind twister. Paul's writings are very heady.
But see, y'all, that's why one has to be careful with reading Romans and reading Paul, because if you're not, you'll get this idea that it leads to the idea that God is not just and that the law itself condemns us. And that's like, I get it. You guys see that that's what's written, but y'all, you got to look in the full scope of it. You got to get back into the Old Testament to see where he's fully coming from.
Yes.
Right? Because Paul was steeped in this. There's much more context to what Paul is talking about. Okay? It's when he's saying right here, for through the Torah comes awareness of sin. Right? We're talking about Yeshua, the one who knew good and evil in the first place. If he knew good and evil and his warning, listen, y'all, listen. What was the concern? What was the concern when they ate from that tree? That they will be like one of us, knowing both good and evil. They became aware of sin through Torah. Who is Torah? Yeshua, who was there from the beginning. You see what I'm saying? Right? But y'all, the thing is, it's necessary. It's necessary. See, Adam and Eve here's the thing, y'all. They weren't supposed to know this, but the dynamic had to be there. Because if it's not, then our relationship with God can't be genuine. The true denial of free will is if we never knew the concept of these things. That means that we would just be created to be robots. Right? We're programmed to not know. The closest thing that they were supposed to get was just the choice to not even go there. That's the thing. They could know what it is to sin. Right? They knew that. They weren't totally stupid, right? They knew what it was to sin. But to act on it, what does that look like? It looks like Yeshua. Yeshua he knows what sin is. And he was born a human being, which means the sin is in his flesh. I know some people, it's like, no, not my Jesus. My Jesus can't say, yeah, of course. If Jesus was not sin, if he wasn't born sin, he couldn't have died. Right? Yeah. The reason why Jesus could die is because he was a sinner. So, but did he participate in sin? No. Right? So Yeshua knows what sin is. But he didn't sin. That was Adam's charge. Adam knew what sin was. They both knew, Adam and Eve, they know what it is. Their charge was to not do it. But now it's going to be a new thing. We have the choice. We've examined what this stuff is. We've seen people die. We've gone through heartache. We've gone through all that stuff. Our charge now is to use our free will choice to say, you know what, hey, God, we don't want to have anything to do with this sin thing. And, you know, we don't, if you'd actually wipe that out of us, that would be fantastic. We don't even want the choice anymore.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? We don't even want that anymore. That's why this new body's going to come in. Unperishable. Why can't it perish? Because sin is not a factor, right? So we have taken this free will choice that we have. We have a free will choice to say, hey, God, we give it all over to you. It's your will. That's what I want to use my choice to do, is to do it your way. That's what it comes down to. That's what's going to make us to be where we're able to live in super fantastic peace for all of eternity. Is to say, Yeshua, you're it, man. Your way.
Amen.
So, all right, y'all. I think I covered everything.
That was awesome, babe.
Woo!
I was looking at, do you have time for a couple of questions?
I do if folks do. So, and once again, guys, thank you guys so much for hanging in there with us. I know the feed thing is really annoying. And maybe from unless I get I'm able to upgrade to like a platform that's or a streaming service that'll do that. As I've tried it, I've done the OBS thing and it was the same problem, y'all. It's like I try to do this stuff, and so I gotta, until I find something reliable to do it with, I'm gonna have to like probably just narrow it down to one, and I'll take that and I'll upload it on one of the channels. I like doing it on both because I'm here in real time to have the fellowship with you. It's what I really want to do. I don't want to like upload a playback, you know, but I may have to choose between that because the buffering it just sucks. So at any rate, what do we got there?
Well, Vanessa Montijo Hassman, she said she actually got your notification today.
Sweet.
It's like, yay, me too. She said, since we have free will, does that mean we have different plans? I'm being serious.
If we have what?
If we have free will, or since we have free will, does that mean we have different plans?
Different plans.
Jeff Gerlach answered, not sure of plans, but you have the choice of light or dark.
Right. Yeah, if we have free will, we have choice.
Yeah.
Then when she's asking about plans, I mean plans like
yeah, can you
is she referring to like maybe like a predestination, like say for instance we can live?
Yeah, Vanessa, can you maybe type in specify plans? What do you mean by plans?
Because you know, once again, we're talking about free will and it's a choice, and that's why the word says, you know, whosoever, you know, calls on me will be saved. It's you're gonna make a choice to do that. The thing is, y'all, God having pre-knowledge of what it is that we're going to do is not quite the same thing as predestination. It is and it isn't, because God knows everything that we're going to do. It is kind of like we're predestined, but it's not like God made us to do things. Like say, for instance, God doesn't make people to sin against him just so he can send them to hell. I predestined you to do that. It doesn't really work that way. Like say, for instance, you'll see things like Pharaoh. God hardened Pharaoh's heart, right? Yeah. Well, doesn't that mean that God took over Pharaoh's free choice? Didn't he deny him free choice and make him behave a certain way? No, because Pharaoh was already going down that road. Yeah. Okay, God didn't make Pharaoh be something that he wasn't already.
Didn't he harden his own heart 10 times before God?
Right,
like,
right.
Give you over to your desires.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. God's like, you want to do you go ahead. All right. Matter of fact, I'll help you if that's what you really want. Right. I'll help you. So we can make plans. People make plans and they want to go ahead and do things. And God already knows how that's going to work out. Right. Whether you're going to do evil or whether you're going to do good, you know, or do decent work, you know, God already knows this whole thing. And God knows who's going to choose him and who doesn't. And the thing is God works with all of that to get us to a certain place. Absolutely. It's just one of the things. It's almost like think of it as here's a very crude analogy for you. Not a crass analogy, a crude one. I'm already getting a look. A crude analogy. not a crass one or a profane one. Think of it as like, anybody play Scrabble, right?
Yeah.
Okay, when you're playing Scrabble, sometimes your opponent is going to deviate from the plan of the game, and they're going to make words that may not really be a word,
right?
And then they're going to call your bluff to challenge it and all that sort of stuff. Okay, this is kind of like how God works. This person is going to, has a plan of their own. They're not going to stick to the plan of the game. This is the rule of the game, right? But your opponent is going to do something else. He's going to spell things differently and then challenge you on it. Well, you have to work with that. So let's say you're kind of like in the God chair and say, how am I going to, it's like you already see, God already know how the game's going to play out. That's a different thing. But just let's say that you can at least see a little bit further how this is going to unfold. You got to work with the deviations, that you got to work with the deviance of this person to achieve your goal. You can see how you're going to spell out something, but this person is doing something different. You got to work with that to achieve your victory. You see, that's kind of like what God has to do. God already sees how this stuff is going to play out, and he's working with our deviance.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
So true.
He already knows this about us. He doesn't make us be deviant. He works with he already just knows that we are, and he knows what we're going to do, and he uses that to accomplish his work. You see what I'm saying? How good is he, right? Where he can work with knuckleheads like us to save us.
Look at, though, kind of the opposite of that, maybe the only example other than Yeshua, Joseph. It was like God worked with other people's deviance toward Joseph.
Sure. Yeah, right. And Joseph had to be a slave. He had, all this sort of stuff.
A prisoner.
Kept his humility.
Right.
Kept his humility through the whole thing.
Kept his integrity.
Right. Ends up being, viceroy of Egypt.
Right.
And look at what God is like working through to achieve that. It's like a mess. Why? It's like, did God want that to happen to Joseph? Right? In the end, it's like, hey, it does me pleasure is to see you where you are, man. Because I'm seeing the whole thing. It's like, look, man, if this is what it goes, if this is what you got to go through to get you here, it'll do me just like it says. It did me pleasure to do this, because when this work is done, man, it's going to be super fantastic. I don't want to have to do this to you, but the outcome of this is it's going to be all right.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to be.
I know for myself, you, a lot of brothers and sisters that we've known and know throughout the years make our plans, and we have our life.
Yeah.
And a lot of bad things happen, and we make a lot of wrong decisions.
Yeah.
And God, as a father, will stand back and just kind of let us, go our own way. And when we end up broken, that is when we start to be molded into looking like Yeshua.
Yep.
He takes all that, and that's how he can mold us.
Yeah. All right.
You want to wrap it up, or I was gonna say, wait, find those fabulous mugs you keep.
Well, thank you, and thank you guys for sticking with us. Hope I didn't talk your ear off too much. Like I said, I said from the beginning, man, there's a lot to get to in here, and I don't even know if I can. I hope I did. And if you dig the ZOpium Den mug and you want to be able to raise a drink, with us, and makes everything taste fabulous.
Makes the coffee stronger.
The link is in the description box. At least I hope it is. And hopefully you guys will support with your donations. Message is free, delivering it isn't. And as we get donations come in, we can upgrade this stuff and do better streaming. But thank you guys for bearing with us and being as generous as y'all have been, because I know that times are tight for a lot of people. And it isn't like we're saying, hey, stuff sucks. We got rent to pay. Give us money. We hope that we're offering you something that you think is something of value and worth supporting, because we know that you guys got bills to pay. We know that you got your livelihood that you guys got to look out for, your families and stuff like that. And of course, and if there's things that you need, or if there's things that you enjoy and that you want to make use of it, and you see it as some value, that's how we pay our rent, and that's how we, we keep food on the table and stuff like that. So if you see us anything of what we're doing of value, hey, we're just trying to provide a service. I hope you guys see some value in that, and want to support. Thank you guys so much. The Lord's blessings to y'all, his healing word to y'all. Godspeed and rock on.